So this is a kind of rather wonderful moment for me, because the exhibition is now in Wakefield, this very beautiful David Chipperfield museum, the Hepworth. It's a kind of wonderful space to show the work, but there's also a rather beautiful and deep connection for me with Wakefield, which is that decades ago when I was apprenticed, 45 years ago when I was apprenticed in Canterbury to Geoffrey Whiting, a wonderful potter, this extraordinary man used to come and buy pots. He was called Bill Ismay. Small, bearded, always wore a beret. He was born, raised, lived his whole life in a small 2-up, 2-down terraced house in Welbeck Street in Wakefield. He was a librarian on an incredibly small salary. He traversed the country, making friends with potters, buying their work. And if you rang the bell in his house in Welbeck Street, this bearded, beret-wearing figure would open the door, usher you in, and there were pots absolutely everywhere. In the kitchen, towers of tea bowls and teacups, and teapots by Bernard Leach, by Cardew, by Lucy Ree and Hans Cooper, by Magdalena Odundo. And you could choose a tea bowl by Hamada, the great Japanese potter, and he'd run a dishcloth across the first layer of grime and make you a cup of tea and talk absolutely passionately and cogently about why pots mattered. Extraordinary, beautiful connection to potters and their work. And when I was living in Sheffield down the road and was beginning my life, he'd visit me. He used to write me letters, and I have lots of them here, many of them shamefully asking me why I haven't written back to him and asking when I would next come and visit him, which I did. He's a tremendous, deep, iconic reason to think about ceramics and think about this city together. So Wakefield, not just a beautiful museum, but also a place where studio ceramics have a deep, deep history, special place. For this exhibition, for the first time in the UK, I'm showing this brand new group of works. Huge vessels made at the Tommerup ceramics workshop in Denmark with extraordinary people, fired in vast kilns, pots, some of them bigger than me, made out of a red clay that fires into this black, almost silvery black surface. And you can see here on these vessels that I've inscribed fragments of poetry deep into the damp clay. You can see how the fire has moved across the pots, and most importantly, you can see where flame and clay and text have come together. In lots of ways, this is me talking to Salto, talking about what he calls the burning now, how fire and clay and hands all come together. It's wonderful. These are pots you can touch, pots you can actually embrace. They're that big. And I'm actually completely thrilled by them. I think they're a marvelous part of this conversation with Salto.